Good evening, this is Dr. Justina Agnieszka Chevalier. I just finished the remedial pursuit, the pursuit that men and women are equal at, and pursuit consists of well-being as goal of well-being of a person, provision for that person, for men to enable that person of pursuit, as song in Spanish says, déjalo ir, déjalo que se pierda, que se lo lleve el viento. Let him go, let him that he gets lost. May he be taken away by the wind. And that is in that spirit pursuit of a female to enable that man actually to pursuit of an ideal partner, as we have established that everybody has, and based on specific physical responses in a synchronicity, some say that's a romanticized term, with another person, occur, let's review that first, as an alignment with one specific person and realization that that person pursues the same rituals for basic needs, so food, water, and other things, same spaces, same way of dressing, and has pre-existing similar or same life goals and education to perform, enabling that couple to bond life together, at first as workers and then as parents and a couple. And so that is then based on, as established, noticing such one or the other, and based on the feedback of the light, rejoicing that that other person presents with characteristics of self, and pursuit based on that of verification, if that is in nature sexual and loving or not. Remedial activity, if that pursuit does not occur, even when there is that feedback of delight in person, and there's some basis to think that that person actually would like to, as a woman, be pursued, as a man be the person who is pursuing, then leads to establishment of if that person has such capacity and freedom to do so, if it's a man. And so for a female, then that is in especially medical field or life-saving and providing safety or provision of basic needs goods professions, assurance that that person is healthy, has enough, and is able to exit spaces and is not pressured or harassed or threatened in any way to pursue her. Once that is verified, then that biological clock is established, and also that is based on when that woman works and lives alone, on the situations in which she is in danger, in the risk of life threats or deprived, that she establishes who out of all persons he actually pursues to assist. And if she feels like on basic is that he is the most concerned and most in urgent need, forced to assure of her safety, and vice versa. This is reciprocal, and that creates bond that is established as friendly and occurs in community in general, but in priority, which is the topic of this video, it occurs in because of sexual desire, to the degree, of magnitude, of seriousness of that desire, determined in those spreadsheets in mind content, and that drugless mind expansion to realize what it takes, what are the components, how it feels like, also obtained in many cases by various relationships, prior relationships from birth, in fact. And that is the goal of most of my videos and books, is actually to establish cause effect, that we are not an individual in a vacuum, but live in a constant cause effect, like a relationship and interactions to others that cause bodily changes to in a degree of stress and effort, to cause changes, to adaptive changes, and also changes to actually then regenerate based on the capacity and facility of certain things. And that is why the presence of the choice of the right partner causes healing of a capacity to assume that role of a primal male that pursues a female, and in nature that is associated with seeking, not being aware of same spaces, like I mentioned before, seeking a pursuit of that person's household, hanging around, wondering, should I enter, should I not? Why am I, despite the GPS, again in the same place? And then seeing that person, like, oh, gee, no, she's gonna think that I am obsessed about her. And it's especially uncomfortable when person is binded by some sort of vows or decided on celibacy and or has work to do, and that occurs in the exact same in the degree of non-possibility and finding excuse for that male for non-pursuit in women. So during the evolution, women often get confused, we get weak, we faint, we feel sicker, we trip over obstacles, or start to feel that we are woozy or unable to pursue certain activities, and here he is, and it is unknown if he's gonna actually consider to help or not, and then that is cause effect to the degree that person offers or plans and acts on a pursuit of that remediation when one falls and one actually is unable to speak in some situations because he's supposed to take up that role, and that is not sure, or one doesn't have enough income because he's supposed to provide and things like that. That occurs in always wondering, well, if I, for instance, like that person a little bit, should I accept, for instance, from that person money? Or is that person okay to hire? Or is that person okay to accept as a patient? Should I, or will that be well if I refuse, if I go out with that person? And if I did, can I still become friends or pursue working relationship? And men and women wonder about it. In this video, I will establish what happens when we find that in remedial activity that person is the right one, and that pursuit is wanted, and that pursuit may end in having children and lifelong bond based on orgasmic pleasure without mind and body separation, and a separation of pursuit of children in sexual act and love, and then derived from such, because of that bonding to that person, wanted fidelity and love for children, and such love that then makes those children loved based on those characteristics that cause sexual desire in a person because of resemblance to that person, and others around also because that person is from a given area, one or the other, because of resemblance of one another. And couples that move to other areas always are at the risk of being suspected for not pursuing work or healing or saving activities, which is not warranted, but because of less resemblance or no resemblance to spouse or children of people around. That non-pursuing is in proportion of no life risk or danger and well-being in the area, that the relationship is not impeded from sexual activity and not impeded from love and life and lasting bonds with also children, and based on also that is determined by based on capacity and appropriateness to the situation of formation of those persons each. And the second characteristic or second component of that is how strong a desire was originally, because it is stable basis of that, that in actual workplace or work situations, when that person appears or is present, impedes completely in attention, in capacities, and also in women in physical concentration, causing confusion because that person appeared any work and any pursuit of any other activity or hobbies. And that the same happens in men. Men acts out in erratic way and appears unprofessional, and persons are not possible to then hire because they are together, and that ends often in what seems to be labeling such as the disease. I, as an expert in disability, I actually recommend declaring that persons are in a relationship and pursued, if that is the need of social services and assistance, for as long as those persons actually do not come up with some idea for remediation to have an income and to have that relationship that limits contact with others to wanted contacts that priority basic instinct based one towards one another and towards own children. When it comes to such loyalty, an oath, marital oath, is an oath not till death parts us, but it is an oath on death, meaning it is based on a reality that if the other person or own children are in danger, or that person is in a risky health situation, that the other has in instinctive, based on that sexual reciprocity, need to go first, run, not knowing even why, when that person is in such danger, regardless of profession, before all others. And if not, sending others creates a suspicion that that natural right, reciprocity of the desire, is not there, and there are some problems. And that is also similar to children. When a child is sick or something is happening, a pediatrician, for instance, or a person who is in a nursing for children place, when there's a child of a stranger and own child in same degree of incapacity, the person will pursue instinctively, in if the same degree of incapacity, own child versus sending a stranger, based on the degree of that love derived from that marriage towards the child. When that love is actually less in marriage, that child is pursued before spouse is less trusted, and before strangers, and when possible to delegate, the child is actually more often delegated to second, more attractive and basic instinct desired person and their family members. And that is the loyalty. Second loyalty is to family members, mother, father, brother, nieces, nephews, and cousins, and also persons who visibly, when in danger, pursued well-being, or when in deprivation, pursued provision, in similar or same degree, in both, and then to the spouse, the family to the spouse, in same degree, and it is mutual. The oath then is based in physical capacity and mental capacity to become selfish versus selfless, based on reciprocity and division of actual tasks, to the maximum capacity when persons are at their maximum, and in such way that when person is 100% selfless, so that oath is I will love you in sickness and in death, in vows, that person actually, when the other one is in complete sickness, will become selfless in provision and pursuit of well-being of that person, risking own life and well-being, and even staking and risking other person's life in despair. And the oath that is compensated by when that person starts to recover and starts to be well, the other that person has an instinct to, in same degree, in a selfless way, pursue well-being and provision of goods and safety of the other person who is weakened. So as you know, those that seek selfless love need to understand that it is selfless in presence, actual presence in the ecosystem, of reciprocity, of selfish or a higher degree of capacity in different periods of time, and that shifts from one person to another, and that is the source of stating the actual fact, not aspiring for it, because that, if that exists with someone else, that cannot happen, it's not possible. And the second thing about it is then professional oath, police, firemen. I met a captain in Port Angeles, persons who actually save ecosystem from spills of oil. That was a divorced man with children. Nurses and all of the other persons that emergency medicine practitioners. So the oath needs to include to that is per se an oath to teach first own children, and also pursue well-being of others at expense of own family. Like Esculapio declared in his oath, "Ya no te encontrarás," you will not find yourself, so you will be prevented from that family life. It is not so. It cannot be so, or the